out of a very tough period. As you say, Europe generally was affected. Certainly Ireland was affected from 2008 onwards. The problem with our banks, the problem with our property sector, the ripple effect was very, very significant for the economy. We've had a tough few years, austerity, cutbacks, people have made a lot of sacrifices, but we're coming out of that now, and the most upbeat, of course, figure is the figure about the Irish growth for this year. We are anticipating growth of 4.7% this year, which is extraordinarily high by any standards and will be the highest in Europe. So that indicates that certainly the worst is behind us. We expect to be able to sustain that growth over the next few years so that we will be truly back on our feet a couple of years down the road. Even through the period of austerity, American investment continued to be very, very strong in Ireland. Over 70% of our foreign direct investment comes from the United States. Very high quality investment, and the pipeline is still very, very strong, stronger than it's ever been actually. So the horizons and the prospects are very good for continuing strong foreign American investment in Ireland. We hear the same positive feedback from so many American companies who are investing in Ireland. Above and beyond all else, they like the talent that's available in Ireland, well-educated, young, flexible workforce. We have the best demographics in Europe. So we tend to say the 4 T's: talent, tax, technology, and track record. I think the government has made a very conscious attempt, and the IDA, which is our industrial development agency, they've made a very conscious attempt over many years to attract the highest tech sector. And you do that by the package that I referred to before, but also very deliberately trying to align our educational system with the needs of the tech industry. Because above all, that's what the tech industry needs. The other thing that's interesting is that we have become a magnet for tech talent from all over Europe. This began at the time of European enlargement 10 years ago in 2004, and we saw an influx of very tech-literate people from the new EU member states. It has gone actually beyond that now, and you see a lot of very bright, very tech-literate young people from countries like Italy and like France coming to Ireland. So Ireland has become a very happening kind of place. Dublin is that kind of city. But even outside Dublin, you will find in cities like Galway on the west coast and so on, that you have an increasingly cosmopolitan feel about the tech workforce. It's obviously difficult to calculate numbers of undocumented. Exactly, by definition, it's not going to be an exact science. But we have used a working figure of around 50,000 or so undocumented Irish in the United States, which in the context of the overall figures of the estimated 10 or 11 million undocumented in the United States, of course it's a small percentage. But in Irish terms, given the size of our population, given the family members back at home who are of course hugely engaged and invested in what happens to their family members over here, in Irish terms that is very significant. And I think it's important for the American public to understand that there are these different strands involved in this overall number of undocumented. And naturally, because of the numbers, it's understandably seen very much in terms of a Latino, Hispanic issue. And of course, we work very closely and collaboratively with the Hispanic community. But it is important, I think, for people to understand the dimensions of the issue and how multifaceted the issue is, to realize that within that overall number, there are strands of immigrants from many other countries as well. It's very difficult until you hear the stories to understand the detailed, everyday way in which being undocumented can affect your life. So what have we been doing? Well, we have been availing of every opportunity to talk to our friends in Congress on both sides of the aisle, Democrats and Republicans. We had the bill that was passed in the Senate in June of last year. We hoped so much that that could be taken up in the House. We engaged at every level with our friends in the House to see if that could be taken forward. We, of course, are disappointed that it didn't prove possible to act on that bill in the House. And we engaged as well with the administration. Our Prime Minister, the Taoiseach, spoke to President Obama about it when he was here for St. Patrick's Day. Our Minister for Foreign Affairs, all of our ministers, people at every level have engaged with Congress, with the administration, trying to illustrate the need for action, trying to expose them to the Irish dimension of this issue, and doing everything we possibly could to encourage action. With the Irish here, they have contributed in every way to the life of America. And it's not just that we account for 35 million of the diaspora, but if you look at the areas where the Irish immigrants have contributed in the life of the community, we are disproportionately represented among the teachers and the police and the firefighters, the labour leaders. You will find the Irish very strongly represented there in political life because they engage in their communities, they become activists, and very often that brings them into political life. Across the top sectors of business here, you have people of Irish background, Irish Americans, represented across the top stratum of business in America. So we came in large numbers, and we came wanting to contribute, really anxious to engage with the new society and to give back. We're hard-working, motivated, dynamic country. There is no lack of seriousness in how we engage with the world. But I think people recognize we are a country that values singing, dancing, having a good time, being a little bit lighthearted about ourselves, being able to have a joke about who we are. We've had a tough history, but we have survived it through, I think, grit and determination, but also being able to have opportunities to laugh and to sing and to dance and to connect with the good things of life.